Hello, and welcome to today's presentation on the Falkirk Community Schools 2008 Fund. Today I'll be taking you through the key elements of this fund. We'll also look at some projects that have been previously supported by this fund. I'll briefly discuss the application process, and then I'll move on to answering some frequently asked questions regarding this fund. For a bit of context, the Community Schools 2008 Fund was set up by the Community Schools 2008 charity to support the advancement of education and the provision of recreational facilities in Falkirk. As the fund is focused on the Falkirk local authority area, applications from groups both based in and delivering in the area will be prioritised. Projects based outside of the area but delivering in the fund area will still be considered, but should get in touch with Foundation Scotland to discuss their project before applying. For all queries relating to this fund, please contact Mercedes Green at mercedes@foundationscotland.org.uk. In regard to the key facts about this fund, grants of between £25,000 to £50,000 are available, and awards are available to be spent over a period of 1 to 3 years. It's entirely up to the jurisdiction of the applicant organisation to determine their project duration. The fund is open to community groups that are operating in the Falkirk local authority area, and there is no income cap on this fund. Unlike some funds, organisations of any financial size can submit an application. When we talk about the fund priorities, the fund is looking to improve the lives of communities in the Falkirk local authority area, and this is through access to education and recreational opportunities. As a result, your application must meet one or indeed both of these funds' aims. Moving on to additional criteria, awards can support a wide range of costs and activities, and these include equipment costs, staff or sessional worker costs, consultations and feasibility studies, maintenance or refurbishment of community facilities, and so on. Activities must be consistent with the recognised charitable purposes, and it's important to note that although staff and seasonal worker costs will be considered, priority will be given to applications seeking capital costs over revenue expenditure. This means that the decision-making panel is particularly interested in seeing legacy projects that will have a long-term impact on members of the local community. If you're unsure about any of the budget items within this paragraph, or you have other ideas regarding a budget for a project, please contact Mercedes at Foundation Scotland. On a final note, the fund will consider existing core costs, but only for up to 10% of the total amount requested. Now that I've gone through the key elements of the fund, you might want to take a look at some of the projects that have previously been supported. First up, we have Cycling Without Age Scotland. In 2023, the organisation was awarded a grant to support the purchase and installation of a Cycling Without Age Scotland trisaws in iconic places base in the grounds of the Helix Park in Falkirk. The installation would involve groundworks and construction of a bespoke chalet-style wooden structure with the supply of electricity to be sited directly opposite the changing places toilets at the Helix. This structure would provide a highly visible, high-profile Cycling Without Age Scotland booking office space at which they could promote and facilitate trishaw rides around the park. The booking office would also provide a base for 2 trishaws, which would be stored out of operating hours in the Helix compound. It's hoped that this project would facilitate cycling and outdoor activity for those with additional needs or the elderly. Moving on to a different project. For the first round of the fund, Larbert High School was awarded a grant to facilitate a training project that aimed to build the skills of young people in the local community through practical training around barista skills. This was a 3-phase project, and for the first phase, pupils would have a chance to train and develop their barista skills, but more importantly, their soft skills like communication skills and customer care. All these lessons would be conducted within the school before moving on to the second phase, and when pupils were ready, they would progress to phase 2, where they would have opportunities to take part and serve at events and workshops in school or at RIF the school to serve staff, families, and community groups. Phase 3 would be progressing to completing a work experience in an external business in the community. This partnership would create supported progression for the young people who are interested in entering the labour market. And this project represents a good fit with one of the key funding priorities about obtaining education for young people or general residents in the local area. If you'd like to discuss any ideas that you have for a project, the themes around it, and those who might be involved, again, please contact Mercedes at Foundation Scotland and we'll be able to have a further conversation on this. If you already have a great idea for a project and you're ready to start submitting an application form, we'll move on to the application process. In 2022, Foundation Scotland moved over to a new online panel and applicant portal. This allows you to access everything you need online in one simple dashboard, whether it's final reports to submitting applications online. If you have not yet done so, you would need to register on the portal before commencing your application. If you go onto our website and click on this applicant login icon, you'll be able to register for the portal, and the link to the application form can be found on the fund page following deadline of the launch. If you have any questions regarding the online portal, we do have some simple documents as well as a grants team who will be on hand to help should you have any technical issues. In regard to the key timescales for this project, the fund will launch on the 4th of September 2023 and the application deadline will be the 16th of October. Funding decisions will come to organisations before the end of the year and no later than the 29th of December 2023. All projects will be expected to start in 2024. Moving on to some frequently asked questions regarding this fund. A question that we commonly get from all applicants is, how competitive will this funding round be? Like much of the third sector, Foundation Scotland has seen an increase in the number of applications that have been submitted to us over the last 12 months. Nonetheless, due to the very specific geographic nature of this fund and the fact that organisations based in the Falkirk local authority area will be prioritised, this fund has a 70% success rate. In regard to applicant organisations and general questions about eligibility, we commonly get the question from schools, we are a school, can we apply? Generally at Foundation Scotland, we cannot accept applications from schools because they represent statutory authorities. Nonetheless, we can accept applications from parent councils or friends of councils within the school. And this is a good way to submit an application if you are a school. If you have any questions on the eligibility, please contact the fund advisor and she'll be on hand to help. A common question is also, can I apply for capital work? Unlike the vast majority of Foundation Scotland funds, this fund does allow organisations to apply for capital work, i.e. building or construction of a site. When you're applying for capital work, it's important to consider the costings for this project, any unexpected inflation rates that might need to be integrated into the budget, as well as quotes from local contractors. Applying for capital work means that you should have a clear understanding of the costings and timescales regarding the future project. Please feel free to submit any work plans alongside your application as an attached file to add further clarity to your proposal. For more information on capital work and the provision of quotes for a project, we do have a page on our website dedicated to this. In regards to small grants, some organisations will not want to apply for a grant of up to £50,000. As a result, if they have an idea for a small grant project, can they apply to this fund? There is a limit in regards to the amount of money that organisations can apply for, which is £50,000. However, there's also a lower threshold of 20. This means that if you have a project idea for anything that falls beneath this threshold, it's anticipated that you should apply to the small grants programme that Falkirk 2008 charity also runs. This fund is not administered by Foundation Scotland, and is run exclusively by the 2008 charity. A link to the Small Grants Fund can be found on our fund page, but it's recommended that if you have any ideas for a small grants project, you go directly to the 2008 charity, who will be on hand to help. Thank you very much for watching this webinar on the 2008 Falkirk Community Schools Fund. We really appreciate you being interested in this fund. And again, if you have any questions regarding the fund, please contact mercedes@foundationscotland.org.uk. We wish you the best of luck with any future application.